Okay, I figured I'd help you guys out and record the lecture as well, so you don't have to just click through the PowerPoint and write the notes down. You're actually getting the story as well. Now, World War I is something that you all should have covered last year in depth pretty well for world history. Now, this is obviously a United States history course, so we are going to focus primarily on United States involvement. So let's get going and see what's happening. So first thing first, the United States is in a new position. We talked a lot in the last unit about imperialism and how we are really kind of expanding into a world power. Okay, and that's kind of a different approach than we've had before. Think back to kind of George Washington and this whole idea of neutrality. That really has not been our thing to get involved in European affairs, especially. Now, the Monroe Doctrine and the Roosevelt Corollary, that's a bit different, right? Those are Latin America, Western Hemisphere things, okay? But as far as Europe, we're staying in our own area. We're not getting involved. And so that really is kind of the goal once World War I gets started, is we plan to keep to ourselves. Now, I know that this, again, is a United States history course, but we do need to understand the causes of the First World War, and really there are main causes. There's a main idea here, and main is an acronym, so let's kind of go through it. It's an easy way to help you understand. So first of all, militarism. Okay, this essentially refers to the growing of military powers. So the growth or kind of glorification of military power is really something that's happening in the decades leading up to the First World War. Essentially, we have an arms race, right? Specifically between the Germans and the Britons. Who has the more powerful navy? Who has the more powerful army? Who has more guns? Who is kind of seen as the big and bad person, right? So we kind of have this sense of rivalry really, really happening through the growth of different militaries. So that's one thing that's really kind of hyping up the tension, because when you have a military, when you have all these arms, you're a little tempted to use them. Okay, so that's one of the things. Next is alliances. Okay, an alliance is essentially this plan that we are on the same team. We're working together. Okay. So let's say that you have an alliance with your best friend, right? And anytime your best friend is having trouble with somebody, they have beef with somebody, ooh, you have beef with that person too, right? Because you have your best friend's back. So what we see is we see that develop among countries and powers in Europe. So for example, Germany and Austria-Hungary are going to have that relationship where if something happens to Germany or something happens to Austria-Hungary, the other is going to jump in and support their friend. Okay. Next, imperialism. Again, this is something that we've talked about, kind of nations gaining colonies, leading to more competition, right? So you want to display the power of your country over others through kind of domination of the map. Now we see a lot of competition specifically for colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East around this time. Okay, and so that's going to kind of play into this rivalry that we saw through the militarism as well. And then lastly, nationalism. Nationalism is a sense of pride or loyalty to your nation. Okay, and so, for example, you'll see some competition between Germany and Britain. Who's more dominant, right? I believe that my country is better, so I'm going to kind of show out and gain more power. So we have all of these things that are really happening that creates essentially a powder keg of tension in Europe, right? Nobody trusts each other. Everybody is trying to prove that they're bigger and badder than the other. And we just need one event that's really going to set everybody off. Okay. Just a quick look at kind of who's on whose side. So remember, who's aligning with the others. Okay, you have the Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire here in purple, and then you have the Triple Entente, Russia, France, and Great Britain on the other side. What is the specific event that really sets folks off? It would be an assassination. Now, it's really unfortunate that we are not in class and I can't kind of act this out like I would, because this genuinely is one of the most interesting kind of episodes in history, in my opinion. This assassination is very much like a movie. Okay, so you have the Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, who's going to be in the capital of Bosnia and Sarajevo, okay, which is part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Okay, and Franz Ferdinand is the heir to the throne, right? And he's visiting with his wife, and there is going to be tension among the Balkan people, the Slavic people who want independence from Austria-Hungary. And there is a nationalist group called the Black Hand, who are going to plan this assassination. And it originally was planned with a bombing, okay? And one of the conspirators is going to throw a grenade at the Archduke's vehicle, okay? However, he didn't get the timing right, missed the target, and ultimately bystanders are actually injured. Okay, so he survives the assassination attempt. And later, the Archduke is going to insist on visiting the injured folks in the hospital. Now, here's the thing. His driver is going to take a wrong turn, okay? And they're going to get out of the car and start talking, well, you know what, you're supposed to turn back here. You're supposed to do this. And while they're having this argument, Princip, the actual assassin, is going to be at a bar kind of drinking his sorrows away because the assassination failed. He's going to see the Archduke right outside, and he is going to walk into the street and shoot both Franz Ferdinand and his wife at close range. Okay, now we have the assassination. We have this moment where the powder keg is kind of lit. Okay, and so pretty immediately, Austria-Hungary is going to blame Serbia for the attack, and we're going to have the alliances set in. Okay, so Russia supports Serbia, Germany backs Austria-Hungary. Okay, and because of this assassination, we're going to have a declaration of war, and because of these alliances, everybody is now involved in the war. Now, when I say everybody, I mean everybody in Europe. I'm not talking about the United States. The United States, again, is going to kind of attempt to remain neutral. In fact, our president at the time, Woodrow Wilson, is going to actually issue a declaration of neutrality. Neutrality, we're not getting involved. It's not our business. So he's going to say, the people of the United States are drawn from many nations, right? We've talked about immigrants and the rising number of immigrants in our population, and chiefly from the nations now at war. So he's essentially noting, ooh, a lot of our immigrants are actually European. Okay, so they care about this issue. But, he goes on, it is natural and inevitable that there should be sympathy with regard to the circumstances of the conflict. However, here we go. Every man who really loves America will act and speak in the true spirit of neutrality. The United States must be neutral, in fact, as well as in name during these days that are to try men's souls. So yes, we are a melting pot. Yes, we have folk from all over Europe who are certainly concerned about what's going on. But if they care about America, which they are American citizens, they will respect our decision to remain neutral. Okay, so we're not getting involved. Now, remember I said we're not getting involved. They're going to try us. Okay, there will be moments where Americans are dead. Okay, the Lusitania is one example. The Lusitania was a passenger ship. that was sailing off the coast of Ireland. Okay, that was fired upon by German submarines. Okay, it will sink, and over 1,000 people will die, 128 of them being American. Okay, now normally when Americans are killed, that's cause for war, right? Think back to the USS Maine. We got involved with the Spanish-American War because Americans died. Okay, but we really don't want to get involved in this. Okay, we are going to continue to push for neutrality. Now, just to be clear, Germany is going to kind of face a response from the United States, right? We're really angry about their unrestricted submarine warfare. Why are you attacking passenger ships? Okay, these passengers are not aiding the war effort, so why would you mess with that? So what we want to do is we want to stop unrestricted submarine warfare. Submarines cannot attack without warning. Okay. Now Germany will ultimately agree to kind of put a pause on this. Okay. So just to make it very clear, we do not join World War I because of the Lusitania. We're angry, yes. Americans die, yes. But it does not send us into war. All right, the next issue. So we figured we'll stay neutral after the Lusitania. The next issue is going to be the Zimmermann telegram. This is essentially Germany being a snake. Okay, we intercept this document. It was from a German ambassador trying to convince Mexico to ally with the Germans, right, and go against the United States. Okay, they essentially say, hey, remember all that land you lost to America? Remember Texas? Remember California? Remember all that Mexican cession land? Don't you want it back? Well, if you side with Germany and we defeat the Americans, you can have it back. Okay, now we intercept it. It never goes to Mexico. We read it first. And immediately we're like, ooh, Germany, you're a snake. Okay, you're going behind our back. You're trying to get our neighbor involved, right? This is really, really, really messy. Okay, so we're very angry, but despite our anger, I'm going to be honest with you guys, we don't get involved because of the Zimmermann telegram. Yes, we're mad, but we don't get involved. Now, remember I said Germany stopped for a little bit with the unrestricted warfare, submarine warfare. Well, they start back up again. Okay, they start to sink our ships yet again. Now remember, this is kind of a violation of our free trade and a violation of the seas. The seas should be free. Nobody owns them. Okay, so the fact that we can't move our ships freely is an issue. Ultimately, it is the issue that we are willing to go to war for. We're outraged that we can't trade freely. Okay, so technically, unrestricted submarine warfare is the cause, right? When that ticks back up again, we're angry. We are going to declare war on Germany, on the Central Powers. Okay, so we will join kind of that triple entente. But to be honest with you, Russia has dropped out at this point. Nevertheless, we're ready to rock and roll with World War I. Okay, so really, two reasons: unrestricted submarine warfare, the Zimmermann telegram, not necessarily the sinking of the Lusitania, but that does play into it. Those are really the main reasons why we are involved in World War I. All right, that's all for this PowerPoint. Check out the other two, okay?